Welcome to Power Your Profits podcast, your friendly guide in bringing your business revenue to the next level. Listen as host Dr. Susie Carder hears inspiring stories of success from her fellow entrepreneurs and transformational leaders. Prepare to make significant change to your strategies as they unravel the secrets of building multi-million-dollar businesses and the most effective tips on finance, marketing, and sales accountability. If you want to take your first steps towards explosive business growth, this podcast is for you. Without further ado, here is your host, Dr. Susie.
NFT, cryptocurrency, altcoin, Bitcoin, blockchain. If these words are foreign to you, or you want to peek behind the curtains of one of the leaders in this growing business and leveraging AI and Web 3.0, then you will love my next guest. We've known each other for about 10 years, and I've watched our next guest grow multiple businesses, win multiple business awards, all while growing her businesses. Lee Ritcher is award-winning CEO, visionary, innovator, global leader, and she stands at the forefront of technology advancement and building legacy businesses. Renowned as one of San Francisco's top 100 businesswomen and leaders and top 100 fastest growing businesses, Lee's pioneering spirit has propelled her to the forefront of the innovation landscape. Her transformation contributions to the business worlds were underscored in 2020 when she earned the prestigious title of one of the top 100 innovators in San Francisco. With a career spanning to the 90s, Lee has established successfully numerous businesses and multi-million-dollar companies, solidifying her status as a trailblazer in entrepreneurship. Her passion for innovation extends beyond the business venture. It permeates her thought leadership and advocacy for integrating technology into every aspect of our lives. Her recent TED Talk, Navigating the Attention Economy, Unlocking Opportunities Through Technology and Human Connection, Lee delves into the transformation power of technology and its profound impact on entrepreneurs, students, and community alike. In essence, Lee embodies the spirit of innovation, serving as a beacon of inspiration and a driving force for progress in both her personal realm and her professional realm. Welcome again to this episode, Lee. I am so excited that you're here. And as I said in my bio in the intro, and Lee, we're talking in the green room, Lee and I have known each other for, I think it's about 10 years now.
More than 10 years, for sure.
It's been a minute. Like, we don't want to stamp mark time and how long we've known each other. But watching you excel in business, watching you, what I love about you most is you're such a student first. You don't come with all this braggadocious ego. Most people won't know who you are because you're not going, look at me. But you really have quite an amazing story. So why don't you share with everyone really your legacy, what your sweet spot is? And I know you have many of them, but what are you working on now? And why should we listen now? I've got so much exciting stuff going on.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate you. And yes, knowing you over a decade, we're watching each other grow up and adulting all the time and seeing what matters first, right? Because when either of us had anything going on with our family mattered the most. And so connections and the people that we care about, that's the front of the line. And we have that in common. And I really appreciate that about you. You love people. And I think that's my through line is I really love people. And we have that intersection together where we love to see people thrive and share their stories. And I think that's been my motivator for so many years is I love hearing people's stories, but then the really good ones, the juicy ones, I want to share with everyone. So early in my career, I was in finance, but I realized in finance, I really love the PR and marketing piece the most. And marketing is a driver for every company, but in finance, it's really a driver because you need to find your ideal clients at the right time when they're ready. And as the more that you know how to create relationships and build them over time, the more it benefits in each of those industries. But in marketing, to me, that is the most fun because we get to connect with people all over the world. And you and I were just talking about one of my companies, the Global Leaders Collective. I built that because I wanted to make room for global leaders, just like you did back early in my coaching, making room for global leaders and treating us like global leaders. And so what I'm doing is taking that message further into my career by sharing it with others, that everyone is a global leader. every single one of us has the opportunity to be that. How do we nurture it? How do we get their stories, share their stories, multiply their stories, and in a meaningful way? And so that's what I love to do.
So how many businesses do you have now, Lee?
Oh, at this moment, I have 12 entities because I just finished taxes. I have 12 entities. One is a foundation, one is a nonprofit, a 501c3, and then the rest are regular business, either C Corp, S Corp, LLCs. I did open a couple crypto companies over the past few years, one in Delaware and one in Wyoming, that just have laws that are really flexible in those areas. So I'm learning a lot on the job on where's the best place to open our business and where's the best place to hang your shingle and who's the best audience to serve. So I'm still growing and learning, just like you said, in these many decades that I've been doing marketing, I'm still applying new things today.
But what I want to say is they're not, some people go, oh, I have 10 businesses, but are they really businesses? Lee's a badass. They're multi-million-dollar companies. So they're not just, paperwork. It's truly businesses. So what industries, so you do marketing for all of them, but what industries do you live inside of? What industries are your businesses in?
That's a good question. So 5 of them are in the pet industry. My partner, Dr. Lee Ritcher, and I have been building those for more than 25 years. There was a regular general practice veterinary hospital, and then we launched a holistic hospital, one of the first in the country that was standalone. And you were part of that when I first launched it, which was now 14, 15 years ago. So that does show how long we've known each other. Because as I was launching holistic vet care, I was literally creating a new vertical inside of our industry. And so I learned a lot about being a pioneer and designing a blue ocean and getting people to come along. And that was a lot of fun. And from 0 to multi-million is definitely harder than buying at 1 million and taking to multi-million. So that company I started at 0, I invested $1 million in building it. So I actually went minus $1 million in the first year. And now we're multi-million. So yeah, it takes a little while. It's a lot of consistency, and it's definitely a great team to get you there. But it is fun to birth something from scratch like that, and see it be so fruitful.
Well, the interesting thing, and this stat, only 1% of small businesses hit the $1 million mark. And the interesting stat, out of those 1%, 90% of those 1% don't pay themselves what they deserve to be paid. I don't know if you knew that one. So when you look at a multi-million-dollar company or $1 million company, only 10% are paying themselves a proper paycheck. Right? I won't even say like what they should be making. If I came into somebody's company that was doing that, what they would pay me with rev shares. So knowing that Lee walks the talk and builds that, what's been your secret sauce in building multi-million-dollar organizations?
It's funny that you say that, because the number one word that popped into my head as to how to make things like that happen is the word royalty checks. Creating something that you can partner with someone else that they can either white label and run with, and that you get a regular royalty check that you can count on, now creates a runway and opportunity for me to build new things. Yeah. So what happened was in 2015, we launched a book, and we started coming up with original formulas, and then created some supplements, and then created a dog food. And now we have like 47 direct to consumer products, right? But it started 2015. I had the idea, but it was a full year before we can launch the products. But now with the right partner, every month I get royalty checks, and those royalty checks coming in help me with new endeavors. So it's something from the past that helps me for the future, but I can count on it. And that is a lot of freedom. So I want more royalty checks in my life. That is definitely in my 2024 and 2025 plan is, hey, how do we create more royalty checks? And so I did some business development with a partner last week who we can do the exact same model for him that I did for the pet industry and create such a great program that it also includes products and bundle it together to help people in their transformation. So what I applied in the pet industry, I'm now going to apply in longevity and growth and legacy building.
And so with that, what would you say, Lee, has been your biggest learning opportunity? So some people call them failures. I don't, right? I call them learning opportunities. If I called them failures, I'd probably beat myself up. But I always have to look at when I do fail, and we do fail, right? We've had some horrendous ones to go, what am I learning? What am I learning? What am I learning?
Oh, yeah. Constantly learning and recalibrating and applying the learning. And I think you're right. Don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as, hey, I learned that lesson. Let me apply it and make it even stronger in the company. My key is, how do we harvest it from the team? If they have a lesson, that the whole team learns it the first time instead of learning it over and over again. So capturing those lessons, celebrating it, and then launching the new is actually very helpful.
You're listening to another episode of Power Your Profits podcast. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Are you tired of pouring resources into strategies that don't work? Say hello to Dr. Susie Carder, your future fractional COO. With Dr. Susie in your corner, your business can skyrocket to 7 figures and beyond. With a track record of creating thriving businesses, trust that you are in good hands. Head over to coo.poweryourprofits.com and let us put some magic into your business growth. Are you tired of struggling to take your business to the next level? Power Your Profits is the game-changing book you've been waiting for. Dr. Susie Carder, creator of the Predictable Success Method, reveals her proven strategies for explosive growth. From daily operations to marketing systems, this comprehensive guide empowers you to achieve predictable revenue and profit growth. Don't miss out on this invaluable wisdom. Transform your business today. Find your copy at books.poweryourprofits.com.
I think the number one thing for me is, having the right team to connect with and count on, right? Someone who really has your back, that understands your language, that can step up and fill in, or, understand the gap and fill the gap as needed. And I call it batteries included. They're not looking to me for their energy source. They have it inside of them. I have my own energy source. I want them to come with theirs, and not just wait for me to assign something, but be proactive and look for ways to add value. So I have some of those battery included people that are really my right hand people, and that is a secret weapon. One of them recently graduated. She worked with me 15 years and she graduated to another position. And I realized how 15 years of pouring knowledge into someone is so valuable, because as I'm starting it over with someone else, I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could just take her brain and put it on.
Yes. That. So what has been one of your biggest obstacles that you've encountered in life, just in general, in opening all your business? Could be personal, could be business, either one.
Let's see. Well, I had that near fatal car accident, and that's real. And that stopped me completely in my tracks. It was 2001 head-on collision. And here I was working at Stanford Research Institute. I had 3 clients a month that I was doing projects with. That was $10,000 a month income. So that was $30,000 a month income for 60 hours worth of work.
Right.
So then 20 hours, which of course I gave them more because I would over deliver. But in 2001, 30,000 a month for 60 hours a week, that was a pretty good gig. So going through the near fatal car accident and stopping everything for a year so I could rebuild my life and my body again, that was the hardest lesson that I've ever had. Not being prepared. Like, how can you prepare for something like that? I was in my 30s, I just never imagined just almost dying at that point. But then I had to fight for my life. I had a 7% chance of living, and living was very important. But then on the other side of it, having something meaningful was more important, because now I lived through something. I wanted to make sure it was for something valuable. And that's where my entrepreneurship actually escalated, is because I wanted to have more meaning in my life. And by doing that, that meant create stuff that didn't exist before. And so that was a big supercharge, but it was also the hardest part of my life so far.
It is. And I identify with that, right? The last one that I had just took me out. And I think I was out of work for almost 2 years. The first year I was in tremendous denial. The second year, okay, God is telling me something, and but I did set up my businesses to be a business, and it didn't rely on me, right? My business actually grew 20% that year, which is kind of an ego shock, right? You're like, wait,
how did that happen? But that's beautiful. It shows that you're eating your own dog food, as they say, and doing it where you could take yourself out of it. Whereas with me, I wasn't in business yet. I had regular clients. I mean, I had my company, but I just had regular clients. But once I was out of it, it didn't work the same. I had to assign those to other people. And so I went from $30,000 a month income at a time where that was a lot of money to none overnight, because somebody else hit me with their car. And then also had $1 million, bill for my medical. It was multi-millions, but my portion of it was, over $1 million just to, be helicoptered in and have surgeries and whatever it was to save me. And of course, I'm grateful that I live in a time where they could save me, because there's almost nowhere than the Bay Area that I would have lived. Anywhere else, I probably would not have lived, because here they knew what they were doing at such a high level in emergency on Cinco de Mayo weekend. It just went by. And what happened was they knew how to save me, but they let me know there were probably only 2 surgeons in the whole country that could do what they did. And one of them happened to be in San Jose. So they helicoptered me to him. And that was a miracle. And now I look back and I'm just so grateful that that doctor was in town, knew how to do that surgery, and totally saved my life. And
Well, they were proactive, right? They had batteries, right? So
they were taking me to Stanford, and in the air, they turned around to go to that surgeon because they figured out that's who I needed. And that was brilliant.
Yeah. So let's talk about wealth strategies, because this is Power Your Profits.
Yes.
What do you see has been your biggest wealth strategy in building your own personal wealth?
That is a really good question. Number one is have a plan. Because when you have a plan, you have something to work towards. And this morning I was having a meeting at 8 a.m. with a group of investors. And one of the things I could show them is over the last 20 years, my business plans for 10 years out, and they could see us accomplish it. And I think having a plan every year, this is what I'm doing each quarter, this is what I'm doing for the next year, but also the next 3, 5, and 10 years, like forecasting. I could see we made all of those goals all along the way just by being consistent, having a plan, following the plan, and at the end of the year, celebrating those successes. And so I look at 2008, and we had physical bricks and mortars, and we were packed. We were busy, busy, busy. And the other businesses would ask me, how do you have so many people? And I'm like, it's from things I was doing in 2004 and 2005 and 2006 consistently that led to us having a full room in 2008. It wasn't because of things in 2008. It was leading up to it in momentum. So I think consistency is key. Having your plan, celebrating it, revisiting your plan, knowing what your life plan is, but also knowing your business plan, your family plan, your relationship plan, like really being dialed into what do you really want. And I think when I ask people, what do they really want? They often don't know.
Right.
And this is the key. Like you and I are raising awareness on pay attention to your finances, but your finances are drivers for everything else. How's your life going to be?
Right.
Finances give you freedom of choice, right? So the more freedom you have, the better you can make choices, and the more choices you can have as well. So I think being consistent, having a plan, and really stopping to celebrate when you meet your milestones. Those would be
one of the things I respect and admire about you is you're incredibly disciplined, and not in a rigid way, right? You do the work. And when I look at wealth, what's gotten me where I've been is the discipline to not buy the next shiny object, to put that money aside, to be disciplined, to look at it. And a lot of people don't have that discipline. They get distracted by, I got to compete with Lee. I got to have the bigger house, the bigger car, the bigger diamond, the bigger purse, the bigger. But that doesn't, in the long run, I think you got to get all that, let it go, and go, that doesn't mean anything. I think
in this part of my life, I'm letting go of everything. I got one of those big yellow bags that you put in your driveway and just get rid of stuff. And on my birthday last year, I got rid of thousands of things, like so many things I didn't need anymore, which is the complete opposite of how I was a decade ago, where I was the magnet for collecting. So we go through different phases. Right now, it's letting go of things is more fun for me than collecting things. However, my checkbook going up, like I look at one of my accounts last year was up like $387,000 just on one stock. And I had to invest in something here for patents, which was the same amount. And I'm like, well, if I just take this capital gain and move it over here, it doesn't feel like I'm losing anything. I do have to pay $64,000 in capital gains. However, it still was like my money working for me for something else instead of me going into debt for it. And so being ahead was a form of celebration that I can invest more in my future, because it didn't feel bad. It felt really good.
Right. So, and that's when you say the freedom to go, wait, I have this to put here. I think I'm in the same spot, right? I realized, why am I working like this? I don't need to. I've set my life up. So I just look at my accounts and go, you don't have to. Like when I feel like I'm getting in a crazy manic, because we've always been in the hustle and building and growing and building and growing, which is fun.
And exciting.
And then you go, wait, why? I'm exhausted. Let me stop. I don't need to. There's a mind shift that I have to to let go of my past dysfunction of busy, being busy, being busy. And there's also I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, well, if it drops, I don't ever want my pants down. because
Well, I always look for I don't ever anticipate the other shoe dropping because I actually just, that doesn't even enter my equation. There is no shoe dropping.
yeah.
There's shoe collecting. You're
Yeah.
very good at that. I've seen you.
I am good at that.
You have a beautiful shoe collection, one to be admired. Yeah, my brain does not go to, it can go wrong. And
Yes.
it's funny because that's why I had such a charmed life until that car accident. And when that car accident had happened 2 weeks before, I had a premonition. So I knew it was coming. I even reported it to a friend of mine at lunch at Chez Panisse, and she reminded me. But I had a premonition about a bad driver. And I said, I'm not usually worried about bad drivers, but I am right now. Once I got through it, my brain was just like, well, just got to do it. What's next? What's next? I didn't go in depression, poor me. I went into what's next, what's next. And I think that's what you and I have in common. And that's why it gets exciting and electric is when we see the what next, we see the opportunities. And that's so much more exciting and
Yes.
to build than it is to sit in victim mode and poor me. Like that just does not suit me for a second. If I have to wear it, I'll wear it 10 minutes and let it go. Literally set a timer, let it go. But on the other side, the opportunity and all of that, that just lights a fire under me. I can't wait to create more.
Yes, I love that. So talk about where technology meets humanity, because we are such a technology driven society, right? I watch my kids and my grandkids and go, I remember back in the day when they talked about, belly to belly, heart to heart, and we're getting less hands-on. And that was, 20 years ago. I'm like, he had no idea where it would be today. So this is one of your legacies and one of your sweet spots. So let's talk about that. What do you mean by that? And how are you seeing it play out?
Well, where technology meets humanity, the big thing right now is, of course, AI, right? Because AI is touching humanity in many ways. Sometimes humanity doesn't even know it's being touched, but it is, and has been for years. And what's happening right now is we're seeing people jockey for position. We're seeing companies, we're seeing Web3, we're seeing metaverses, we're seeing DAOs. All of these different technology-based opportunities are happening. And it's interesting because the people that are 19, 20, and 21, they jump right in. Their brain doesn't say there's no reason why this is illogical or doesn't make sense. So they're getting such an advantage because they're not filtered when they go in. They just go in with wonderment and learning, and they adapt so fast. They've been growing up with this technology. And what I'm seeing is just like in Silicon Valley, there was a divide for a really long time. Who has Wi-Fi, who does not? Who has access to a computer, who does not? Right now, this is what's happening with AI. Who's learning AI? Who's learning how to go in there? Who's learning how to use it to their advantage? Who's understanding how to navigate it is going to have a really big advantage in what's coming next. And what's coming next is a series of patterns in the web, a series of different communities that are blossoming. And as I'm applying for patents and I'm seeing other people applying for patents, most of the others are big companies like Nike and IBM. They're going in places they don't usually go, right? Like you would think Nike would be talking about apparel, but they're in the NFT space securing NFT patents as well. Why? Because they see in the future technology meeting humanity is very powerful for their brand. And if you go in Web3 right now in Roblox and you look up Nike and you look up Chanel and you look up different companies, you can see they're already putting in their communities and they're getting a head start. And we're all still at the starting line going, hey, what's this AI thing? Chat GPT. Oh, it's on 4.0. Should I go sign up for it? Yeah. For $20 a month, you go sign up and you learn it. Right. And just the other day, I was showing a friend of mine how I could do 44 hours worth of work in marketing that it used to take me 44 hours. I could do in 1 hour with AI now and do it better than I used to do.
Yeah.
And I showed them how to create a campaign. I called it Legacy Builders because I wanted them to see what I'm doing. I showed them how to create a campaign, how to create ads, how to understand a male's participant's fears, how to understand a female's fears and seeing them different. All of this with AI in 1 hour that would normally take me 44 hours, which, by the way, a team member that could take 80 hours.
Yes.
To do the same thing. And I could do it in 1 hour with the right prompts.
Yes.
I could tell it, act like a
Yeah.
award-winning marketer when you do this. Act like you're Oprah asking questions when you do this. Like when you start knowing the prompts and how to go in there, now it's brilliant. And technology meets humanity in a good way when you learn to use it that way, where it's helping you. Right.
Yes.
So technology meets humanity is happening all around us. It's happening with cryptocurrency, right? We're hearing about Bitcoin every day now as it's going through the roof again. We're hearing about Ethereum. We're wondering what this means to us in the future. We're looking at it at Web3, like I was mentioning, Roblox. Now, there's a lot of people. Have you heard of Roblox?
No.
There's a lot of people that haven't. And when you start looking up the numbers and what's going on in Roblox, it's astounding that everyone on the planet doesn't know about it. But I will tell you, every 20-year-old knows about it.
What is Roblox? I see Roblox and I know it's not what you mean.
It's ROBLOX, and it's a platform that's been around where it's a Web3 community. And this is where the kids are going on and they're playing games and they're getting involved in community. But what happens is it's like 500 million people a day are signing on that.
That's
right.
awesome.
It's probably more than that now. I think when I mentioned it in my TED Talk last year, it was 500 million. I think it's probably 25% more than that now. And I should look that up myself. But when you look also at Amazon last year, the #1 sold product in all of Amazon for the year was gift certificates to Roblox.
Interesting.
And yet people don't know about it, but it's our generation is missing out. And what I'm thinking is, if our kids are in there and they're learning this, and this is part of the future, and this is the trend, let's go in with our kids. Let's be together and learn together. Instead of the continental divide again, youngsters knowing it and their parents don't. How about we go there together and learn it together? And so that is my big thing right now is, as families, don't leave anyone behind. As communities, don't leave anyone behind. Scoop people up and say, hey, this is a fun place to be. We're going no matter what. It's already here. Might as well learn it early on so you understand how to navigate it.
Well, I love that because you've never left anybody behind. You're one of the most generous people I know, as far as connections and time and energy. How can I help? How can I serve? From generosity, not from in order to, right? So many people are in order to, I'm going to help Lee to get this, or I've never experienced you that way. I've always just experienced like, oh, you need to meet that person. I just remember being at a conference and I'm like, hey, I need to meet this person. You're like, oh, come on. Handheld me, put me in front of him, went, okay, I'll see you later. It was like, oh my God, that's so generous.
I love connecting people. That's because I love people so much. And I do see it in 3D, like this person needs to know this person, and I put them together all the time. I love it. It's just one of my favorite things to do.
Well, this has been amazing. How can people play with you, learn more about you, share with people? How can they get a hold of you? And what do you have coming up that we can participate in?
Well, thank you for asking. Everything goes through goasklee.com, GOASKLEE, goasklee.com. That's like my major hub. And right now, just friendship, joining me on social media, being part of the conversation, us growing together. Do I need anything right now? Just really support and connection. We were talking about how important connection is. I think the more that we really engage in meaningful conversations and meaningful connections, the more it helps all of us. Like, I want to deep dive with you more too. Like, I've known you so long, and that we haven't connected as much as we have is really a shame. I really want to support you more, your community more. And so we'll make it a priority. Once a quarter, just check in. My Harrison assessment, which tells you how much I want to not only be a leader, but be a leader and scoop up other people to come along. So we get to do that together.
Well, Lee, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your generosity. And we appreciate you. Go keep slaying it. Go build those legacies. And I can't wait to speak to you again. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. You too. Mwah.
If this podcast has been incredibly valuable to you, please share it with your tribe, your community. Somebody needs Lee. Somebody needs to hear this message. Somebody needs to know, how do I build this thing called my legacy and not leave my family behind, not leave my friend behind? And how do I create this and be part of that 1% and part of the 10% of the 1% that are actually paying themselves what they're worth? So I'm Susie Carder, your profit coach, and my guest was Lee Ritcher, and together we'll help you slay your dreams and your goals.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Power Your Profits podcast. Let these building blocks from today's most successful industry leaders equip you with the necessary resources and tools to finally establish the highly profitable business of your dreams. Want to hear more? Listen to more episodes at www.poweryourprofitspodcast.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the show. Now is your time to rise to the top of your game. So be sure to catch our next episode. Until next time.